wondering what your reaction is.
I don't give a damn about the Browns at all. I care about the Colorado Buffaloes. I do love me some Shedeur Sanders, don't believe that. I care about him. The rest of that mess, I don't. I'm a coach trying to win just like they're trying to win games, but I could care less if they traded.
That's Deion Sanders in his press conferences, weekly press conferences. They get ready to take on the Cyclones, Tone. Colorado University. Is it University of Colorado or Colorado? Because I know it goes by CU. Either way. Head coach of the Buffs. So I'm a man torn, but I got to go with my allegiances. I'm sorry, Coach Prime. When I heard that, our group chat started to fly around yesterday afternoon, and I was like, well, Coach Prime has his own version of coach speak, and he's trying to win ball games. I mean, his I don't know if his back's against the wall for crying out loud, but he's trying to win some football games here. This is tough. This is a tough year. He's gone through a lot of health battles and things like that. But then somebody asked, I think it might have been Owen, it's like, you think he's done with the Browns? And I go, you know what? If I were Coach Prime and he was my son, yeah. Now, you could say, well, this is what you wanted. You wanted a chance to play. Yeah, he'll get a chance to play soon. But you had your two guys that you signed first. They're gone. You spent training camp having my son throw to guys who were ball boys, and then he's getting extra reps and God knows what. And it's not about, again, I do believe that they will put Bailey Zappi in as backup quarterback, and that's going to get everybody upset. It's not something I like saying. It's something I believe they're going to do. But if you don't do that, you're now going to put him in a position where he's got to run an offense that he's not accustomed to, and now he hasn't had the practice of doing so. So your preseason, your training camp was a mess. Or it's become a mess because of what you've done now during the year. And now you're putting my son at a disadvantage. That's what I would believe if I were Deion Sanders, because I'm not Shedeur Sanders' dad. I'm an observer. Do you believe that they put Shedeur Sanders in a place to succeed so far? No. So obviously, if I were Deion and he was my son, I'd be pretty upset. Yeah, because you want to go to a place that, yes, you can play early. Okay. But you still want to be able to trust the people that were there. And in April, hey, I know what Browns fans thought of Kevin Stefanski, but a lot of people around the league and a lot of people around the game of football trusted Kevin Stefanski. Now, that's changing, and we'll have some audio coming up from Bruce Arians later on in the show. But at that time, you wanted to trust it, and here you are. All the things that you hear about the Cleveland Browns, if you're Deion Sanders, all the things you may have known about the Cleveland Browns if you're Deion Sanders back when you were on NFL Network, are coming to fruition. So you bought into the system, and now, because you gave it a chance, here we go. And we're going to go on this wild ride. And the only person who can change it is Shedeur. That's it. And now we have to have a conversation about somebody who the fans certainly don't want to see. But you go ahead and what you were going to say about Deion here.
Well, it's like, obviously their situation is so interesting because the cameras have been on the Sanders, all throughout. And everybody's been wondering, when is Shedeur actually going to get a shot? When there were 4 quarterbacks, people were led to believe that there was a fair competition because the coaches said it, which I think if they had it back, I'd like to think they would communicate it very differently, because there was never a shot for Shedeur Sanders or Dylan Gabriel to start week 1. That was like an impossibility. The people in the locker room all knew that. It's almost like they were like, oh, we're gonna trick the media, but they forgot they're also speaking to the fans. When they talk to us, they're actually talking to the fans. We're just kind of in the middle of it. We're the conduit, right to them.
Yeah.
But in the end, that was never the case. And, looking back, like, if you were to power rank all the quarterbacks that they've already been through this year, and you're adding Kenny Pickett, okay, Zappi's in here now. They've also got, was Tyler Huntley, here in the preseason? I mean, think about, and then now Deshaun Watson.
Forgot about
Is that 7 quarterbacks? Yeah. I'm not even trying to tell jokes here. Is that 7 quarterbacks?
I totally forgot about him.
Guys, I used to give Andrew Berry.
That's more than the DBs. Usually have a plethora of DBs.
I was giving them the benefit of the doubt because 2020 was miraculous. If you think about how many teams did not deal with the adversity of 2020, Browns did. They stepped right up, and then they won a playoff game. That was awesome.
Well, they were organized.
They were
way more organized than what Freddie was.
Yes, they were more organized than most of the NFL.
Not fair.
That's why Kevin Stefanski got Coach of the Year, and that's why people are like, "Whoa, Andrew Berry." Okay, and then fast forward, a few years ago, and then there were bumps in the road. Obviously, we've litigated all that. Then a few years ago, when you looked at the guys that were on the team at the end of the year that helped with the playoff push, and the Cleveland Browns had gone to the playoffs twice with one coach. Yeah, that's why he won Coach of the Year. They call it the soft bigotry of low expectations. That was absolutely the case. The second time around, it's like, well, the Browns they have no shot this year. And then with Nick Chubb injured, with a new kicker that comes in, and the whole team, it's like, whoa, Joe Flacco is just going to help this team down the stretch, the final however many weeks, and put up 300 yards. 300 yards. Can you imagine a Browns quarterback today putting up 300 yards when Dylan Gabriel had 146, until the Hail Mary situations?
Boy, it's a hell of a year when you are the one quoting George W. Bush. Yeah. Lord almighty.
So, think about all of that. Like, I had reason to give Andrew Berry and Kevin Stefanski credit.
Yeah.
I had a ton of reasons. It's kind of off the board now. Like, I don't know how to give the brass any credit when the most important position in sports, it dictates everything. It dictates how everything goes in this community in Northeast Ohio, how you're going to feel about your life is on the quarterback. And this is your situation.
Well, if we do revisionist history,
this is your quarterback situation.
And we do all that all the time. I mean, I could go ahead and start to take the boxing gloves off and really go after it, because if it is revisionist, it's exactly what you said. Now, I would love to say back in 2020, like, oh, he won the award because of what he did in 2020 because of COVID and everything like that. But it's exactly what you said. Do you win the award because of the job you did, or just because of the ineptitude of what came before you?
Some of it.
Is that it? When Dan Orlovsky says that, and he goes, well, he'll be hired tomorrow. Okay, good luck. Good luck. Because it's starting to look more and more. It's starting to look more and more like, no, you'll be a victim as a head coach of an organization just like everybody else. So, like, if you went and got hired by the Jets, Aaron Glenn didn't become an idiot from one winter all the way now to this fall. He has a terrible team with a terrible organization. He didn't become an idiot, but he'll be a victim of ineptitude more than likely. I think Kevin would just be that way. That's what's made Dan Campbell so exciting, because you've pulled that ship out of the dock and actually got it to go. That's why we look at these coaches in this way. I mean, you look at the 49ers. I hate to say, look at what the 49ers were before Kyle Shanahan. You had the run with Jim Harbaugh, but in between that, you had garbage, absolute garbage. They went through a terrible period there, and you were able to get that back on track. Like, there's things that coaches do, and that's why they're really held in high esteem. So when it comes to Coach of the Year, hey, that's fine, but that just becomes something that we like to go after each other on if we're making an argument against a coach, or we're trying to make an argument for a coach, because we just can't believe that we're still trying to wrap our heads around processes instead of wins and losses. And the problem is you're not getting the wins, and your fan base and people around the league don't understand your process. Before, people would understand the process and say, no, these guys, they know what they're doing. You need to give them a chance. What is this process? Albert Breer is no Kevin Stefanski hater, Andrew Berry's hater. He said he was surprised by that. And then, you get to this conversation that we're going to have here at 6:43. We got Jason joining us at 7 o'clock. Jason Lloyd, the great one. He will join us coming up at 7 o'clock. Yeah, it's amazing. I just called him the great one, but here we are. Jason from The Athletic will join us at 7 o'clock. I've called him the Culligan man. I'll have to see, because none of this goes anywhere but to a question mark. There's nothing here that leads me into the future, other than, guys, I hate to tell you, guys playing on Saturday, and I don't even know if those guys are. That's why, like, if you want to get mad at the whole Mac Jones thing, guys, buckle up. Hell, they've had 7 quarterbacks here this year so far. I forgot about Tyler Huntley. You're right about that. Who knows what the future holds in store for us?
How many more?
For next year.